Welcome back, everybody, and anybody that's new, welcome to the show. Today we're going to be doing another episode where we're looking at 10mm range ammunition. Let's get going. Today what we're going to be talking about is some Blazer brass. It's a 180 grain projectile. We also have some PPU ammunition. It's also a 180 grain projectile. PPU is a jacketed hollow point. That's what I have. I know I'm usually trying to test range ammunition. This jacketed hollow point was on the cheaper end of the spectrum though, so I still consider it a range ammunition, and that's what we're looking for. Remember, in this whole series, as we started off, we're really trying to see for 10mm, a 200 grain projectile should be going around 1,200 feet per second. That's specification. Some good bear defense loads might be going 1,250, 1,300 feet per second with a 200 grain bullet. So I'm looking for some range ammunition that kind of meets up and is at least as close as we can get on that specification. So it's a true practice when we're out there practicing and we get super used to it. So many defense rounds, especially in 10mm, are not loaded to the 10mm specification. In fact, some of them even feel like they're 40 Smith & Wesson. And some of the velocities and energy foot-pounds that we found on this series also prove that. So what we're going to be doing today, continuing on the series, we're going to test PPU, we're going to test Blazer brass. I've also got 3 guns, all of which are empty, have no magazines in them. 3.8-inch Springfield XDM Elite. The 5-inch Sig Sauer Emperor Scorpion 1911. And finally, the Tankfolio Gold Match Defiant with a 6-inch barrel. Those are the guns. We've got the lab radar set up. Target's down 25 yards. We are at a range. The range is closed. I'm the only one on this range today. All of this is going to be done in a safe manner, and we're going to follow all rules. Thank you, YouTube reviewer. Let's get going to shooting. What's up? The XDM Elite. It's a 3.8-inch barrel. $10.85. 11.11. 11.05. My apologies, this is the Blazer. 11.15. 11.16. 11.07. And 11.15. Pretty good consistency out of that. We'll just do an add up, get a summary for this. So for the Blazer brass with the 3.8-inch, we got an average of 11.08, a high of 11.16, and a low of 10.85. Extreme spread was only 31. Standard deviation on that was 10.9, and I fired a total of 7 shots. Next, let's get going on to the 5-inch with the Sig 1911. Keep wanting to say Emperor Scorpion. Not important for this test, but somehow important for my mind. $11.68. 11.40. Ooh, and I got a malfunction. I have not had that with this gun. It was a failure to eject. $11.41. 11.45. 11.68. Ooh, and another one. 11.51. I don't think this, another failure to eject. I don't think this 1911 likes the Blazer brass ammunition. And 11.29. All right, we'll do a quick add up. Yeah, so interesting. So we saw on that, and the Sig Emperor Scorpion, 2 failures. I don't think I've ever had a failure with that gun. First time I've thought I'd shot Blazer Brass before, but interesting. So the average was 1149, high of 1168, a low of 1129. Again, extreme spread of 39. If nothing else, this Blazer Brass is fairly consistent. Standard deviation of 14.7, and I did have 7 shots. All right, next up, let's go on to the Tanfoglio. 1193, 1215, 1189, 1200, 1206, 1197, 1193, and 1204. Okay, XDM Elite and the Tanfoglio seem to run that. The Tanfoglio is proving to be pretty reliable. In my initial video, I need to do an update video on it, but in my initial video, it had some problems. I think that truly was break-in. It was in the first couple of mags of it, and so after that, it's just completely smoothed out. Been a very reliable gun. So the average is 1200. Again, though, this is an 800. This is a 6-inch barrel with a 180 grain projectile. So not quite what we're shooting for, but the high of 1215, low of 1189, extreme spread of 27, standard deviation of 8.5. Again, very consistent from the Blazer Brass, and so CCI doing a great job of their reloads and consistency in that. So that's great to see. Had 8 shots. We'll put these together at the end of the video. Next, let's move on to the PPU. All right, we're moving on to the PPU ammunition. You can tell this is a hollow point. So first up, we have the 3.8-inch XDM Elite. $945, $997, $993, $981, $963, $1021, $996, and $1008. All right, well, so we spoke about some rounds being loaded to 40 Smith & Wesson specification. That's a 180 grain bullet going barely 1,000 feet per second, if that. In fact, its average was 988, its high of 1021, low of 945, extreme spread of 76, standard deviation of 24.3, and 8 shots. Next up, we're going to go to the 5-inch barrel out of the SIG. 1013. 1030, 1059, 1039, 1054, and 1003, 1029, and 1029. Maybe it missed that last one. Let's see what we had for a total add up on that. Once again, you can tell this is weak sauce. So an average of 1032, a high of 1059, a low of 1003, extreme spread of 56. That's getting up there. Standard deviation of 18.8. Number of shots, 8. Again, average of 1032. Not very good at all. Next up, we have the 6-inch Tanfoglio. 1016, 1043, 10003, sorry, 1003, 1027, 1013, 1085, 1044. Not really growing much on the barrel lengths either. This is just pretty weak sauce. I would not use that. It says it's defense line ammunition. I wouldn't use that for defense. Average of 1030. I mean, against people it's 40 Smith & Wesson, so whatever. But that's not why you buy 10 millimeter. Average of 1033, high of 1085, low of 1003, extreme spread of 82, standard deviation 27.5, number of shots 7. So we're going to take all this information through the magic of videography. We're going to show you some charts, and we'll talk about the results. Boom. Okay, so let's talk about them. As you could tell from the other parts of the video, the Blazer Blast really outperformed the PPU ammunition. Blazer isn't bad. We'll take another look in another section about how it ranks with the other ammunition types that we have, but it's not bad. It has some nice scaling as you go from a shorter model down to a longer. And in the shorter configuration, just over 1,100 feet per second and approaching 500 energy foot-pounds isn't terrible. So I think the Blazer is an effective range ammunition, but let's, again, take it in with the rest of the ammunition. The PPU, I'm just really disappointed, and I would just say that's a hard pass. Unless you're looking, to shoot really soft ammunition, because that's fun and it's worth plinking. You can get this cheap. You want to go fast with your 10 millimeter. Those are all good reasons you might want the PPU, but as a defensive line, you don't want it for that. You also don't want it for testing ammunition that has full recoil. So that's my take on that. Let's now skip to the chart where we take a look at everything all together with what we've been doing in this series. So moving on and comparing it in with the rest of the ammunition, we can see the Blazer Brass down at the bottom. It fits sort of somewhere in the middle. It is over, and when we look at the 5-inch model, it is over that magic number of 500 energy foot-pounds, but it's not quite up into the 600s, which we get with the Sig Sauer, the AAC, the MagTech. There are some better rounds of ammunition out there for training, for using and testing and feeling the full power of the 10 millimeter and getting used to handling that recoil. So in terms of the Blazer Blast being on that level, I would say it's not quite there, but it's not terrible, especially if you can get it for cheap. I think it could be an effective range ammunition. Again, just looking back over all of this data, certainly the Sig Sauer FMJs are really an effective 10 millimeter round, and you're really getting full 10 millimeter power with that. It is surprising some of the other rounds to take a look at, the Enderwood range supply, which isn't quite at those levels, but is still very effective. And then also, I think the AAC, again, worth an honorable mention here, that it really is, for cost per round, perhaps one of the best range ammunitions out there. So let me know what you think. Please put your comments below. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. And please like the video and share it with your friends. Thank you, everyone. Take care.